All right, everyone. Welcome to the Strive for Good Life podcast. I'm excited to be here today. My name's Nino. I'm your host, and I'm here with Michelle Vandepas, who has been in book publishing for 25 years. Really excited to have her here. Thank you so much for being here, Michelle.
You're welcome. It's an honor. Pleasure.
Yeah. All right. Well, book publishing for 25 years. I mean, that's quite the history of being, successful in one thing. But I know that your success didn't just start right with book publishing. So, how about we, dive into how you started those early stages of, becoming an entrepreneur that led you into book publishing eventually?
Well, I consider myself one of the entrepreneurs from way back, right? When I was a kid, I was doing entrepreneurial things, and I always knew I wanted to work for myself. I'm not sure where that came from. I think some people are kind of born with that, and I think you can learn it too. But I just had that in me. And in my 20s, I learned sales. I was working for other people. And then I started my own business. I was helping other people market. I had a couple of businesses where I was selling things. But in the process, I learned a lot about sales and marketing, and I was always selling. And so I wrote my first book 25 years ago on sales and marketing. Back then, it was vanity publishing. It was a whole different process, right? And I really had to learn how to sell those books with mixed results. Because it was a whole different time, right? I mean, think back before like Amazon and cell phones.
Yeah.
I think 25 years ago, I didn't quite have the same understanding of how to go worldwide that I do now, right?
Yeah.
And so, but in that process, I was doing sales and marketing. I was doing consulting. I wrote my book. I then started helping other people that I was working with write and market their books, write and publish and market. And so I started doing that. I had classes, and then Amazon came along, and I learned Amazon really quickly, learned how to publish on Amazon, published a couple of their books, helped my clients do that, did courses and classes, and helped thousands of people figure out how to write. Some of them published, some of them never did, right? And then one day I sort of woke up and went, I should just start my own publishing company because I'm helping all these people. And it has been quite the journey. Starting a publishing company, lots of people can publish on Amazon. The bar to entry is pretty low. That's good and bad. I hope we'll talk about that. But to actually run a full-fledged publishing company where you understand distribution and PR and ISBNs and copyright and liability and insurance is a whole nother ballgame, right? So I've spent the last 10 years really learning and diving deep into that and becoming really an established, solid publishing company.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It seems like such a natural evolution took place, and you just eventually realized that, it made so much sense to be a publisher yourself. So you said something about, anyone can learn to be an entrepreneur. And so obviously, like you developed sales and marketing skills, which seem to have really catapulted your success. I mean, would you point to, those skills being, what you suggest people learn, or are there other skills and other things that help people learn entrepreneurship, I guess?
Yeah. So in my head, and, maybe we're going to discuss this, but in my head, entrepreneurship and owning a small business are kind of two different things. You can own a small business. You're in it. If you have a small business, it might be a shop, it might be something online, it might be digital marketing agency, it could be anything, right? That's your business, you're focused on it. Someone with an entrepreneurial bent tends to be someone that's always creating, always looking for the next thing, a little pingy, right? Like maybe moves from one thing to the next. And the people who are successful are able to kind of join those two things together, right?
Right. Okay.
And so being an entrepreneur, and this is just kind of my discussion around this. I don't think there's any science on it. Being an entrepreneur means you're usually really creative. You got lots of ideas. You like to try new things. You're a good self-starter. You love to go. It also means you have to be really resilient because usually that personality type has a big rush, can get a bunch of stuff done. And then to get in there for the long haul, you have to turn into a small business owner or a big business owner, right? Then you have to learn operations and systems, payroll, hiring team, making sure that you can grow, or, not everyone has to scale, but you have to learn the operations to keep your business going.
Yeah.
And that's a different skill set. So back to your initial question, I think you have to really be resilient, regardless which one you consider yourself as starting at. And then you do have to learn sales and marketing because you've got to keep money coming in. You got to keep new leads coming in. And that's the place most entrepreneurs and business owners, like, we go like this, right? Up and down and up and down.
Yeah.
And once we get that lead gen and the stable income comes in, and it helps everything. But markets change, people change.
Yeah. It's constant evolution, right? You have to continually get better and sharpen those skills. I've certainly seen that. I mean, the successful business owners that I speak to are the ones that are constantly trying to develop themselves personally, or, improve upon their business in some new way, right? And not just let it stagnate,
right,
and die. I love that. So how have you continued to, I guess, evolve yourself or improve yourself in your business? I mean, what are some ways in which you've done that?
So it used to be, and I still recommend people do this. It used to be, you'd take courses, you'd read books, you'd do personal development, you'd figure out how you could grow. I think the world has changed and there's so much noise out there. I still recommend like certain books to my clients and certain courses and those kinds of things. But I really think we're at a time and place now, just on the planet and with humanity, that we really have to tap into our own creativity and intuition, because there's so much noise out there that you could spend all day listening to noise and following this guru, reading that book and taking that course. And you don't know necessarily which ones are really going to work for you. So you got to start with being grounded, start with tapping into your own creative self so that you know what's going to be right for you and your business and your goals and dreams and your purpose and your mission, so that you really know which course to take next. So you really know which side of personal development you want to work on. Do you want to work on relationship building? Do you want to work on sales? Do you want to work on letting things go, about being mindful, right? Everyone's in a different place. And so now I teach a lot of creativity, intuition in business, following your own purpose, staying aligned with who you are. And that goes if you're a leader, leading a team of people, or if you're a solopreneur. It's the same skill set we need.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. And how do you do that? How do you, what are some practical ways to kind of get grounded and focused, and balanced inwardly? I mean, you recommend journaling, meditation? What are some techniques?
Yeah, totally. And again, it's different for every person, right? For me, it's walking.
Okay.
When I walk, let me put it this way. When I don't walk for a couple of weeks because it's raining or I'm lazy or I can't be bothered or it's dark, we're moving into darkness now, and after work, I don't want to walk like I did like 2 weeks ago, right? But when I don't walk, I notice it. I can tell. I'm just more agitated. For some people, it's yoga. For some people, it's cooking. For some people, it's like, I talk to women, especially all the time, who say, I still really like to hand wash my dishes. It gives me a time to just be present with myself for a minute, right? People used to do things like learn how to play fiddle and crochet and, right? Just things that just bring you to yourself for a minute. So whether that's yoga, mindfulness, prayer, walking, journaling, all of those things. But what I recommend is you choose one thing to help you that you'll kind of stick with. So I journal on and off. I don't really wash dishes. That's just not my thing, but choose one thing and then also choose something creative. So you're always doing something creative that has nothing to do with your business.
Okay. So separate completely.
Yeah. You don't have to monetize everything.
Yeah.
What happens is when we're in business and entrepreneurship, we're always thinking about the money, right? We're always thinking about where's the cash flow? How can I make my next sale? What's going on next? And that keeps our mind focused on just the money. And we can't see the opportunities when we're there. We can't see what's next. We can't see the big picture. We can't see how is our client changing? How is our business changing? What's next for me personally? What's next for the business personally? And so when you do something creative, it taps into a different part of your brain. It allows you to think big, to vision. They always, you always hear like, if you knew you could not fail, what would you do? Well, most of us don't really know because we don't have the biggest vision. So it's not like we're holding ourselves back because we're afraid of doing something. It's like we don't know what to do. And that's because we haven't got into that creative part of our brain. So that could be go into anything with beginner's mind. Painting, singing. Right now I'm taking ballroom dance. I suck at it. Never going to monetize it, purely for fun, do something different, right? Mosaic, stained glass blowing, drawing, anything.
Yeah, just to get the creative juices flowing, right?
Right? With beginner's mind. You're never going to monetize it. You don't have to become an expert in it, purely for fun and to explore and see what you're capable of or not.
Yeah, I love that.
Right.
I love that because I find that, business, it's so easy to get stuck in this mindset that you have to be the best, you have to win, you have to compete with everyone else. And so to take a step back and put yourself in a position where you completely take that off the table, right? I think can be really liberating in a lot of ways.
Right. And then when you think about the people that maybe you most admire in business, I don't know, Oprah, Steve Jobs, Richard Branson. I don't know, right? Some people like those people, some people don't. But you got to admit, they're all super creative. They all can totally out of the box stuff. They all push to the limits of what most of us think we can do or can't do. And that doesn't come from sitting at your desk.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that a lot because and I think a lot of people don't realize that they can be creative, right? There's this kind of pervasive fixed mindset sometimes that you're either born with it or you're not, because they have a set idea of what creativity looks like or should look like.
There you go. Yeah, right.
When that's absolutely not the case, right? We're all creative in different ways and can express it differently. And even if we don't excel necessarily at certain aspects of creativity, right? It doesn't mean we can't in other ways. So,
I mean, creativity is not art. It may express itself through art, but I think that's what you're talking about. We're trained to be well, I can't draw. I'm not a natural born drawer, right? But when you look at Leonardo da Vinci or Van Gogh or any of the big artists, they practiced. They drew every day, right? You don't just so it's more of a mindset and a passion, I think, that gives you the resiliency and the commitment to hang with something long enough to get good at it, and creativity, and that includes business. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But the creativity part is how you set your table, how you arrange food on your plate, how you connect with your partner.
Yeah. So speaking of creativity and bringing it back to your business, what are some creative ways that you've, or how have you used creativity to set yourself apart in your business? I mean, are there special things that you do for your clients, or I don't know, how have you done that? I guess.
I don't know. So we definitely bring creativity into our business because we do page layout. We're a book publisher. And so there's a lot of creativity there, but I don't think that's really what you're asking. And I don't, that's a great question. I don't know. I know that the more creative I am and the more I walk, and I don't think I'm that creative right now. However, I go in those cycles just like all of us, right?
Yeah.
I do believe the more I'm in touch with my intuition can lead the business with more confidence that I'm making the right decisions. Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm in touch with that. Because I feel like, I can feel it. I can feel it in my gut. I can feel it in my brain. Like it's all working together. How does that equate? I don't really know. I teach a lot. I teach writing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And when I teach writing or when I do writing retreats, we do other things. We don't just sit and write. We create vision boards. We go on walks. We eat great food. We laugh a lot. We create masks. We do art. We paint watercolors, all those other things, because that helps get the writing going. Right?
Yeah.
And so how do I bring creativity into my business? I'm not sure exactly.
Well, I guess, maybe another way to phrase this is, because, to stand out in the marketplace, right? You talked about all this noise. We need something unique about us that draws our clients. And so, that's kind of really where I was going. Is there something about your business that you can point to, things that you offer, things that make you unique, that your clients really connect with, that help you stand out?
Yeah. So I think I talk with a lot of prospects personally, and I talk about exactly what you and I are talking about.
Yeah.
So I just think from a sales and marketing perspective, the people that want this become our clients, right? Because I talk about this and they're like, I want to work with this kind of company. But then we also, when we teach writing and we have courses and all those kinds of things, I talk about all this. So, I still don't think I'm quite answering the question, but I bring the concept of creativity into everything.
Yeah.
The concept of living with purpose and intuition and staying true to who you are into book publishing, into writing your book, into writing retreats, into marketing. I teach marketing for authors and for other people. I teach how to build a business based off your book, or if you have a business, how to do a book, how to connect them. And all of that comes from your own internal creative power.
Yeah.
And so I just talk about it all the time, I think.
That's a great way. And is that how typically you find your clients? Just, I don't know. I mean,
I run Facebook ads sometimes, and I have, if you go to my site, you can opt in and get a free gift and all that kind of stuff. So I do all this stuff, but mostly I'll do Facebook Lives.
Okay.
Be giving a speech somewhere, and maybe be at a conference. Connect with people, send an email to my list and say, hey, who wants to talk to me? I've got some time next week. Right.
Okay. So you use a lot of different methods. So just, because I want to help people understand how they can, because getting clients is such a big piece of making their business work. So how do people do that? And so it sounds like you're leveraging social media, Facebook Lives, you're doing in-person events.
Yes. Yeah. Email list. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So email marketing.
Yeah. And I have a client who has funnels, like all the things with the funnel, like you opt in, you get the free thing, you get the $7 offer, you get the $19 offer, you get the $10,000 offer, you get all these emails, right? You're retargeted on Facebook, and it works great for her. Like she's got that dialed in. It's perfect. It works for her business. It's not quite the fit for my business, right?
Yeah.
And so you got to find the piece that really works for you. We do some of that, but we don't have it dialed in like she does. And she runs multi-million-dollar business, just really dialing in the funnel.
Yeah. Wow. So, okay. So there are a lot of different ways to go about it.
Right.
But obviously using multiple channels and methods and just putting yourself out there in the world is huge.
It's huge.
So,
And then if it doesn't work, here's the thing that sometimes I see in the entrepreneurial world. When it doesn't work, we beat ourselves up. Well, that didn't work. I suck. Nobody wants what I have. When actually, we don't know if that's true or not. We don't know if it's just you didn't get to enough people. You didn't get to the right people. You need to tweak the message. You weren't clear. I see somebody on Facebook talking all the time about what she does and how good she is at it, but she never ever says, and you can buy it from me.
That's
And
interesting.
so I'm always curious, are you selling this or do you work for someone doing this? Like, I'm not clear if this is a job where she works for someone else, or if she's like trying to say, hey, buy from me. I don't know. And I don't know her, so I'm not going to reach out to her. But I think that's also interesting, right? Like, you have to be clear. I'm good at this. Buy from me. I have something to sell. It's not any good to just say, hey, I understand book publishing, because someone may think I work at Random House.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I've definitely seen that with some of the email lists I've been on. Even there's no clear call to action on how I can work with them if I want what they're doing, and it's perplexing because you're not going to generate sales if you don't ask for them, right? So I think that's a very strong point to make, is that you have to be asking your audience all the time if they want to work with you, and presenting those offers consistently. So I think that's an important point. Speaking of all that, I guess creating offers. How does if I were to own a business, how does something like book publishing work into my marketing? How does that help me? How would people leverage that?
Oh, I love this question. So I think anybody can write a book about their business. It doesn't mean everybody wants to, which is a different thing. I just think, like, everybody can learn ballroom dancing, doesn't mean you want to, right? But if you want to, if you're called to, if you have a thought, I'd like to have a book, I can do it with a car tire dealership. I can do it with an online service professional, anything. We will figure out how to make you the expert in your field and write a book. Now, for business, because there's all different kinds of nonfiction books, and I work mostly with nonfiction, right? There's memoir, and there's teaching, and there's inspirational. But let's just stay in this niche of business building. What you'd want to do is set yourself up in this book as an expert in a specific niche, in a specific genre, right? So if you sell tires, you want to talk about all the different things you should think about when going tire shopping, and all the things that you never think of to ask, and what you should ask, and how to know when they're blowing smoke and mirrors at you, or how to know when you're getting a good deal. And you put all that in a book, right? And you put a call to action at the end that says, click here if you want more information. Now, that's a very specific kind of book. That's not like an inspirational. It's a specific kind of book that you may actually give away. You may use as lead gen. You'll use it to get you speaking engagements. Maybe you're going to go speak to the tire conference, right? I don't know if one exists. I presume one does. Or the trade show. And it sets you up as an expert in that field. 5 years ago, that was probably enough. Like, you could have a book and it would set you up. Today, people kind of expect that you'll have some kind of book, maybe a podcast or a speech or some social media, maybe a YouTube channel, maybe an email list. Like, the book is a huge piece of it, but you need to have the book and something else too.
Yeah.
So I work with clients on what is that something else. So I can work together. Is it an email list? So your book leads to the email, and the email leads to the book, which leads to you getting speaking or selling courses or whatever your next step is.
Okay. So you do help people kind of think through the whole funnel, essentially, right?
The whole funnel thing. Yeah, and the book is the piece of it. What I really do is help people market their message.
Yeah.
The book is a piece of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that through a book. I mean, it absolutely establishes you as an authority if you've written a book, but it is interesting because of how accessible it is to publish books, how it's almost not enough. I mean, you got to do more than that as well. So,
Right. But don't let that discourage you. And here's the other
yeah.
thing. I think we were talking offline, or maybe I said it at the beginning, the barrier to entry to publish your own books really low now.
Yeah.
And that's good and bad news. The good news is the power's in our hands. The power's in the people's hands. You want to publish a book, you can write and publish a book. The bad news is that makes a lot of bad books out there because they haven't gotten good expertise on how to make sure the gutter and the margins are correct and the font is readable and there's a cover that is engaging and all of those kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
And so I always say, if you're going to put out a book, at least spend some money in editing and book covers and maybe someone like me to really help you leverage and put out a really good product that you're proud of a year from now.
Yeah.
I get a lot of people come to me and say, I published a year ago and it's not doing anything, right? And we dig in, we'll do like a half a day or something, and we'll dig in and figure out how to sort of tweak everything and polish it to up-level it so the book's working, your message is working, your funnel's working, you're getting the results you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I find that, I mean, the key to a successful business is to have an amazing product or service, right? And so you want to make it the best that you can be. And I don't know how to write and publish a book and make it the best. So it makes sense to me that I would go to an expert that does.
Right.
So that I can absolutely put my best foot forward in what I'm doing with the book. So I love that. I think that's true in other areas of business as well, right? To learn from the best and, set yourself up to really succeed in that way. Let's talk about, so a big part of what I'm trying to do with the podcast is illustrate how, entrepreneurship sets up our lives for, greater freedoms in whatever way we define that personally. Right. And so that was another question I had for you is, what kind of freedoms have you found or what have you enjoyed about being an entrepreneur and having that flexibility that comes with the job?
So I liked when my daughter was younger that I had the flexibility to rearrange my schedule to be able to take her to school, pick her up, do all the things and still have my own business, right? So there is a lot of flexibility and freedom that comes with being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Being an entrepreneur also comes with the equal amount of polarity of the weight of responsibility.
Yeah.
That freedom offers. You are responsible for your own income. You might be responsible for a team. If you get sick, what happens to your clients or your business, right? So you have to weigh that up. And I think in today's social media landscape, people are like, I'm going to start an online coaching business and coach from Thailand and make $1 million in 90 days and have all the freedom I want.
Yeah.
For most people, that doesn't work. Probably worked for a few, but for most people, it doesn't work that way. It is more of I'm going to craft my life how I really want my life. If I want to work from Thailand, great. And you've got to hold the knowledge that you're also responsible for your business that you're creating and your clients and your income, right? So it's a balance. So yes, I have lots of freedom, especially now. If I want to go for a long lunch, I can. If I need to take off in the afternoon, I can. And I'm coming in Sunday because I have a client who can only meet on Sunday. And my responsibility and my obligation is to my clients. So I'm coming in and I'm working on a Sunday morning, which I don't normally, right? So it's that balance of you also give up a little bit of freedom because you're in charge.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, that balance. And like you said, you feel the weight of the responsibility of that. And And for some people, they don't want to have to feel that necessarily. So I understand that it's not for everyone.
I don't think it's talked about. I think there's this online, I don't know what the word is, but this expectation that I'll go start an agency, or I'll go start a coaching program or whatever it is, and be able to, charge $100 an hour, or $500 an hour, $50 an hour. It doesn't matter, right? Charge what I charge, and the income comes in, and I got my own business, and I can travel, and then it doesn't work, and people beat themselves up.
Yeah.
And they feel bad about themselves. People don't want what I have. Oh my gosh, I put all, and I'm just saying there's a piece missing that we don't talk about, that all of that is true. And it's like raising kids. It's going to be the most amazing, joyful thing. And you're going to be in tears a lot as well. Right. Yeah. It just comes with it. And when we don't talk about the other side, we take it personally and we think we failed. And we haven't. We just also need to recognize that there's this other piece that we're also holding at the same time, where we have to be resilient, where we have to learn marketing, where we have to keep going. We have to put our clients first. We have to keep the income coming in. And if, you didn't make $1 million in your first 90 days, it's probably okay. And that's probably more normal than the online world is having.
Right. Right. Yeah, I totally understand how easy it is to, see the success of others and compare yourself. I mean, that's what social media does
right
to us, right?
Yeah.
And that's not a fun game to play. I mean, you've been in publishing 25 years, so, how have you found, ways to, maybe draw clear boundaries so that, and stay motivated? I guess really that's kind of where I'm going with this, is like, how have you motivated yourself and found ways to move forward despite all those challenges and that you face as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. Well, some days are easier than others. And my mantra is, I'm just going to get up and go to work today. Right.
Yeah.
So regardless, I'm just going to get up and go to work today. So, but I think when you're training for a marathon, or if you're in sports, or, if you're in the Olympics or whatever, you just get up and you do your thing that day. Like, you don't really say, well, I'm not going to train today because it's cloudy outside. Same thing with being a business owner. I just show up and do it. Some days are way more fun than other days. I try to keep my own personal motivation, that I want to be connected to my purpose, which is helping others, inspiring others, making sure that I can make a difference in the world, even if it's just a small ripple effect somehow. I do a little bit of inspiration somehow, somewhere. And so that's always in the back of my mind. And I have a responsibility. I've got a team of people. I have clients. I have books. I have, stuff to do in the world now, both in my coaching business and my publishing business. So staying motivated, I'd say, and if I'm not walking, for me, I just know after years and years of experimenting by accident, that it's harder for me to be happy and motivated if I'm not walking. If I'm walking, I'm in touch with, okay, I'm headed to work today. I'm going to inspire someone, or we're going to see what happens. It's a new day. Let's be excited about the new day.
Yeah.
So again, it's whatever. Some people, it's meditating. I have clients who've meditated for years, and they say, yeah, it's easy to miss a few days, not a problem. But if I miss, I go on vacation, I get out of the habit, it's hard to get back in, and I feel off. I feel like something's missing. Usually some of us have that. Journaling, like you mentioned, right?
So do you think it's important to have some kind of a routine, some kind of structure?
Some kind of practice, to keep you coming back. Could be meditating, could be praying, could be yoga, walking, journaling, art, cooking. Like for my dad, it was cooking. He cooked every night for years. That was his thing, where he would just be like, okay, this is my time. I'm going to create, be in the kitchen.
Yeah. I love that. You said something about the ripple effect. And the last time we spoke, we kind of touched on that a little bit. Do you want to share maybe the ripple effect that you've seen, in your line of work, how you've affected, maybe your clients and how that's caused a ripple?
I think there's a couple of examples I'll give, and I don't think we really know the ripple effect we have.
Yeah.
I was a big sister maybe 30 years ago, which is where you mentor somebody who maybe was in the foster care system or just needed a parental figure. And like I was really pretty young then to be doing that, but I was a big sister to somebody. And out of the blue, like 25 years later, she found me and sent me an email and told her how much of an impact I'd had on her. And, I met with her like 3 times and then she ran away from home and that was that. And I thought, oh my gosh, I hope she makes it out of her horrific situation. I never heard from her again till like 25 years later. And she'd gone to college, gotten a master's degree, gotten out, had a good job. And so we never know, really. Sometimes we never know the ripple effect. But in terms of my clients, so my publishing company has published about 150 books, almost all inspirational, motivational, positive thinking in some way. We hear stories every day. This book helped me. The authors come to me and say, this book really helped me know who I am and help me put into words what I've been feeling and how to help other people. Then our readers come to us, so glad you published this book. This book really helped. We heard from an author a couple of weeks ago. She had gotten a letter from somebody who said that the book basically kept her alive, that there was some inspiration and spoke right to her heart and caused her a different life choice. But, we do hear that, but think about all the stuff we don't hear about. Like if we get 5 things a week, that would be a lot. And I'm presuming, hundreds and thousands of people read these books. How many more people are being touched that we never even know?
Yeah. That's such an interesting concept for me, because, this concept of putting yourself out in the world with your business or, in whatever way you're serving people, you have no idea, the effect it'll cause in other people's lives. And if you didn't put that out there, right? I mean, I just, everyone that I meet that talks about starting a business, I always have that in my mind. I mean, I always think about the possibilities of what could be if they did it. And that's why I always encourage everyone to jump in and start and try things, because of exactly this principle. You have no idea where it will lead or whose lives you'll impact. And I just believe that it's so powerful to live, your purpose and in a sense, bless the lives of others with what you've been given. Right. And that's how I choose to view it. And for me, entrepreneurship, it's, in that way, it's an act of giving. It's an act of serving. I don't know if you see it that way.
I totally see it that way. And I think everyone feels that calling.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're not on purpose, right? Yeah. Everybody is on the planet, has a purpose, here for a reason, is loved, and so forth, right? That's a given. Some people are called in their heart to express that a different way than others.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean if you're not called to be an entrepreneur that you're wrong or you should. Doesn't mean if you're not called to go express yourself in one way or another that there's something wrong with you. It's just some of us are called in this way, and we're talking to those people.
Yeah.
Right? I just want to make sure I don't ever want anyone to feel thrown under the bus or made to feel wrong because they are called to write a book or they aren't called to start a business.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
Right. You've got your own path. Yeah. I'm just talking to the ones that are called.
Yeah. Yeah. The ones that feel, like they have something in them to give, I encourage everyone to share it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that reminder. Okay. So let me think of what else. I'm looking at my notes from last time. Is there anything, in your life? So a lot of people I talk with, they point to, and I don't know if we touched on this last time we spoke, but they point to, key people that they brought on as employees, people, I've seen how important it is to, as an entrepreneur, even though you want to, not do everything yourself. So, how have you in your business, handed off the tasks that you're not good at, and how have you managed that? Or how have you given yourself permission to not be the one that has control of everything? Because as entrepreneurs, I feel like we're always wanting to control everything and do it ourselves.
That's a really good distinction too, between being an entrepreneur and a small business owner. I think at some point you got to shift into business owner and build a business if you want to, rather than being a solopreneur. So that's a choice you have to make. And then you need some systems and operations. I don't think you ever get out of that struggle. I don't think I've ever talked to an entrepreneur who says, oh yeah, I got the whole hiring, firing process thing down pat, right? Whenever an entrepreneur has to let someone go or make changes in team or hire someone new or open, it's a struggle. It's work. You got to think it through. It's like, it's emotionally draining. It's exciting. It's change, and it's difficult. So I don't think that ever goes away. But speaking to your point, I think there's got to be a level of trust in yourself. You got to have a level of trust that you're going to be able to hire somebody that you can train to do the tasks. And then you have to have trust in them that they're going to step up and do it.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to make bad hires. There's going to be people who are good hires for a short period of time and then need to move on. And that's the most heartbreaking, right? There's going to be people that come and hit their ceiling and can't do it. There's going to be people that you hire and they like far exceed. And then you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do to this person to be able to keep them so they don't leave? Because I want them on my team, but they're like excelling, right? All of these questions. Just figure out where your genius is and then try to give away the other parts of that.
I love that. Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
Is there, from your experience with, people you've worked with, is there a point at which there's kind of a clear indication that, okay, it's time to bring on someone else or hand this piece off? Is there, because I understand that like when a lot of people are starting, not a lot of money there, and they're,
Right.
It's kind of this chicken versus the egg scenario.
Yeah.
Way.
It's tough when you're a solopreneur. It is tough, I think, when you're by yourself. And so in today's world, it's pretty easy to get part-time virtual assistant kind of help for things like emails or marketing or whatever. I think if the solopreneur is feeling overwhelmed, it's time to make changes. And what do those changes look like? I also think if the clients aren't being served, it's time to make changes. So you've taken on the clients and you can't handle it. Like, then you got to figure out how to make those changes and what you can give away. There are so many resources now. At the beginning, I used to trade. I don't do that. I haven't done that in years and years and years. But way back when, I would trade coaching and consulting for help in my business. So there are always ways to get some help. Mm-hmm. It just may not be your long-term help. So when you're starting, I would say hire an assistant for 3 months.
Okay.
But be clear that we don't know where it's going to go. We're going to work on this together. You're going to get me out of this initial crisis or overwhelm. We're going to work on this specific project so that you can get used to being a boss, a team leader. You can get used to giving up things, because that person who you hire at the beginning probably isn't going to be around 5 years later.
Yeah.
Your business is going to change. You're going to change. You're going to have different needs and expectations. So for someone who has 0 people on their team, I would definitely just start with a part-time project-based person and work there so that you can feel into, where do I really need help? What's going to help me the best to grow the business to the next level?
I like that, because, and when you frame it that way and set an expectation of only short time, then it's not, you're not stressing out about, I think oftentimes we feel like the decisions we make have to be permanent, and it's not, right? None of the things that we do have to be permanent. Can always change. And in fact, that's how you grow and evolve as a business and as an entrepreneur with that continual change. So I really like that. I think that's valuable advice, especially that piece that you said about, when you feel overwhelmed or when your clients aren't being served properly. I think those are really good indicators of when it's time to make that change and bring someone else on. Okay, so we're kind of pushing up on time. I had one more question, before we get into where people can connect with you. If you had to start from scratch, what would you do and how would you get your first client?
Great question. So if I were to start from scratch today, that's a really interesting question. I probably do exactly what I'm doing now. I do coaching. I would help people really hone in on their message, their purpose, and how to put that out into the world. That's what comes to mind because it's my expertise. And I would, my favorite social media is Facebook, because I've been in it so long and I know it. But I would just start posting content and inspirational things on social media, as well as tell everybody I know that I have a coaching offer right now. And I'd put that on social media and I'd ask for the sale.
Yeah. Key part, to ask for the sale.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. So you'd start on social media and you would ask everyone,
I would just put it out there. And not in a pushy, desperate way. Just like, hey, I've got this new offer, 3 sessions, right? I'd probably do like 3 sessions, $1,000, and I'm going to help you or anyone you know. Send them to me. We'll have a quick 15-minute call and see if it's a match. Like I would start like with the basics.
Yeah. I love that. I love that reminder. I think a lot of people get hung up on, or they imagine that, none of my friends or family would be interested in.
Right.
That
but
kind of
they
service.
and the other thing people do is, okay, I'm going to do that, but I have to do a website first and my Amazon seller account first, and I have to go get Shopify, and I have to figure out my funnel, and I have to get 16 social media sites set up. And that's where people get overwhelmed and stuck, because you don't actually have to do any of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, especially with that kind of a business, if you're doing a coaching or consulting, right? You don't need anything.
Right. But let's pretend it's something else. Let's say you're selling t-shirts, right?
Yeah.
You have to go set up all these things. Maybe you just go on Etsy, choose one place. Maybe you go to the local farmer's market and sell them. Choose one place and just start. Don't make it so complicated.
I love that. Keep it simple and just start. Okay. Well, I've really enjoyed this conversation with you. Tell people, how they can connect with you and what you have, going with your business right now.
Yeah. So the easiest way is to go to michellecoaches.com. That's Michelle with 2 L's, coaches.com. I've got the opt-in. You can opt in. You can get a video of me talking about creativity and a little PDF that talks about the different creative types and marketing archetypes. You can get some free gifts about writing and marketing your book. You can connect with me on social over there. You can send me a text if you want. There's ways to just connect with me. I love talking with people. It's what I do.
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
With me. There's my call to action. Go to michellecoaches.com and connect with me somehow.
There you go. Yeah, get the free PDF, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What's, just to wrap this up, if there's one last thing you want to share with the audience or encourage people to do, what would that be?
If it's in your heart, it's yours to do. People always say, well, I've had this idea. I keep thinking someday I should do it. If you have an idea, if you think someday, then it's yours to do. And we will figure out how to go do it, or you'll get the inspiration how to go do it. Don't self-doubt. Don't push it away. Don't think just because you're not qualified, you shouldn't do it. If it's in your heart, it's yours to do, or it wouldn't be in your heart. And follow your dreams, follow your intuition, and go have your ripple effect in the world.
That's a perfect way to wrap up. Thank you so much for being here. And our audience, thank you for listening or watching this. If you're on YouTube, please like and share this video with anyone you can, and let people know what we're doing here. That would really help us out. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys next time.